This is the story of an innocent man who was sent to jail for loving another man. A man whose name became synonymous with wit and style, but who paid a heavy price for his Oscar Wilde. It's me. This is a house in London, and this is the story of a house. When Oscar Wilde met Lord Alfred Douglas at a party in 1891, it was love at first sight, but their romance would become a legal nightmare when it destroyed one of Britain's most beloved writers. Oscar was already famous by the time he met Alfred. He was known as the wittiest man in the room, the man who could charm anyone with his epigrams and everyone wanted to be Oscar's friend, or so they thought. In reality, Oscar was cold and calculating, always ready with a cutting remark that would make people squirm in their seats. But when he set his sights on someone, all of his weapons of social warfare were useless. When Oscar first laid eyes on Alfred, it was like nothing he had ever felt before. This was a man who was unafraid to speak his mind or stand up for what he believed in. A man who was both charming and intelligent. It didn't take long for Oscar to let the world know how he felt about Alfred. One day, while walking together through the streets of London, Oscar turned to Alfred and said, "I love you." And Alfred replied, "I love you too." And so began the scandalous affair between two men who were head over heels in love with each other. The couple tried to keep their relationship a secret, but word got out and soon people were talking. The scandal was huge. At the time, homosexuality was illegal in England, and the thought of two men in love was outrageous. People were shocked and appalled, and as the news of their relationship spread, things started to get ugly. For a while, Oscar and Alfred were able to keep their relationship under wraps. They met in secret and planned their future together, dreaming of a world where they could be open about their love. But their happiness was short-lived. One day, Alfred's father, the Marquis of Queensberry, found out about their relationship. He was furious. He had always known his son was different, but he never imagined it would come to this. He confronted Oscar, demanding that he break up with his son, or else. But Oscar was in too deep. He refused to end things with Alfred. The Marquis was not a man to be trifled with, and he made that clear to Oscar. He threatened to ruin him, to destroy everything he had worked for, and then he did something that no one could have predicted. He went to the police and accused Oscar of gross indecency. It was a dirty trick, but it worked. The police searched Oscar's house and found compromising letters and photographs. It was enough evidence to charge him with gross indecency, and soon he was arrested. The trial began, and the media circus that followed was unprecedented. People were camped out on the streets outside the courthouse, and every day there was a crowd of reporters waiting for the latest news. As the trial dragged on, Oscar's life began to unravel. His friends abandoned him, his publisher dropped him, and his reputation was in tatters. It was a nightmare scenario, and it was all because he was in love with another man. The trial ended in a guilty verdict, and Oscar was sentenced to 2 years in prison. He served every day of his sentence and then some. He was released a broken man, his health in decline, and his career over. He spent his remaining days in exile, far from the only thing that had ever mattered to him. That's right. We just said that Oscar was in love with a man. In Victorian England, the mere suggestion of homosexuality was enough to cause a scandal. And now you know why. Back then, if you were convicted of sodomy, it meant spending the rest of your life behind bars. And if you were a celebrity, well, you might as well kiss your career goodbye. So while Oscar may have been innocent in the eyes of the law, the same could not be said for society. But why exactly did those people want Oscar locked up? Well, it all had to do with one man, Lord Alfred Douglas's father, the Marquis of Queensberry. You see, he had a particular distaste for homosexuals, even going so far as to call them a menace to society. So when he found out that his son was in a relationship with Oscar, he took it upon himself to get the writer put away, and to think he actually succeeded. After the trial, Oscar's health never really recovered and he died believing that he'd never see Alfred again. Talk about a sad ending. In 1897, after serving his prison sentence, Oscar Wilde left England forever, never to return. He spent his final years in exile in France, where he died penniless and largely forgotten. He had once been the toast of London, the most famous writer in England. Now he was just a shadow of his former self. He died believing that he would never see Alfred again, and in a way, he never did. Alfred did visit Oscar in Paris in 1900, but it was a brief visit and the two men never saw each other again. Oscar died believing that he was alone in the world. He had been betrayed by his lover's father and abandoned by his friends. He was a cautionary tale, a warning to other young men who dared to love another man. But Oscar's story doesn't end there. His life and work continued to inspire people around the world. and today he is remembered as one of the greatest writers in English literature. But his legacy is more than just his writing. Oscar Wilde was a symbol of hope for many people, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love can endure, and we couldn't agree more. What do you think? Do you think Oscar was truly innocent? Or do you think he got what he deserved? Let us know in the comments below. We'll be responding to some of your comments in future episodes. So if you have something you'd like to say, make sure to say it in the comments below. It's also worth noting that this story took place in a very different time period. Homosexuality was illegal, and there was no acceptance or understanding of it. This led to Oscar being treated very unfairly, and it is important to remember that he was a victim of the prejudice and discrimination of his time. We live in a world where people are still struggling for equality and acceptance, but we can also celebrate the progress that has been made, thanks to people like Oscar Wilde, who dared to be different and who fought for love and acceptance in a time when it was not easy to do. Oscar Wilde was a true trailblazer, a man who dared to love and be himself in a world that often tries to keep us small. His story is a reminder that love is worth fighting for and that acceptance is something we should all strive for. So, here's to you, Oscar. May your wit and wisdom continue to inspire us all, and may your story continue to remind us that love is the most powerful force in the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a like. And if you want to learn more about Oscar Wilde, check out our playlist on his life and work. Who knows, maybe one day soon we'll be able to tell his story without having to say the words for his time. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and above all,